Hey, what's up guys, OSG here with a video on Commodore 64 games with different regional releases. Most systems had games with different names depending on where you were geographically, but some games were actually developed just for those regions, making two games with the same name that were totally different. Here we will look at the difference in 7 games, and to be honest, some are astonishingly bad. Okay, let's start off with a European version of Afterburner. This is by Activision and it's absolute tripe. You get no sense of speed or even control when playing this. The only good thing I can say about this version is the loading screen and the music, which is pretty good. Everything else is just crap. Here we have Afterburner, the US version from Mindscape, and let's start off by saying that this is miles better game in terms of looks. The gameplay is also a marked improvement. This really feels like you are playing Afterburner, whilst the European version never. The only thing missing in this game is the great in-game music. Here is the US version of Bionic Commando by Capcom, and unlike Afterburner, the US version isn't a superior version. In fact, the only positive thing I can say about this game is that the music is good. Everything else is abysmal. The European version by Go is an excellent arcade conversion. This game is brilliant and I actually like this version more than the arcade, and that Tim Follin soundtrack is awesome too. Here is the US version of Cabal, and like Bionic Commando, it's another poor effort from Capcom. Although it doesn't look bad, the game plays like an absolute dog. The bullets just blend into the background, making it a nightmare to play. The European version, which was released by Ocean, is a vast improvement on the US version. The graphics are smoother and the sound effects are much better, and the gameplay is exceptionally good and feels just like playing the arcade. This is a European version of Flying Shark by Firebird. I like this version, the graphics are nice and the music is too. It really reminds me of the arcade game. One thing that winds me up though on this game is the slowness of your playing compared to the speed of the enemy bullets. This is the US version, released under the name Skyshark by Taito. While not being far superior than the European version, it's still that little bit better gameplay wise. The music, like the European one, is great, but I just wish it had sound effects too. It would have finished off a pretty good shooter. Here we have the abomination known as the US version of Ikari Warriors by Data East. This will have been top of most people's lists of terrible regional ports, as it's renowned for just how bad it is. It is as far from a great arcade game as you could get, and definitely takes the award for biggest turkey on this list. The European version by Elite rectifies all the wrongs in the Data East version, and it is in my view the best 8-bit port of this game. Everyone loved Ikari Warriors on the arcade, and now with this version we could play and enjoy the game at home too. Next one's a strange one, as I like them both, so we'll start off with the European version of Outrun from US Gold. They were both developed by Martin and Dennis Webb, and for me, at the time, I loved this game, especially for the great Sid music. The US version, released by Mindscape, is just that little bit more sleeker in design, and the gameplay, while not being much different, has a slight edge over the European version in terms of speed. We still have that great soundtrack, and in the US version we actually got the arcade track selection screen that was missing in the European version. Last on the list we have Street Fighter, and this is the European version released by Go. This game was one of the biggest letdowns I've ever had when buying a game. We all know how big Street Fighter was back then, and when I loaded this up it was a true what the hell moment, as the game is one of the worst fighting games I have ever played. This is the US version by Capcom, and from the off you can see that it's way better than the European one in looks, but it doesn't stop there. The gameplay is also much better, and the music is good too. Don't get me wrong, this still isn't great, but compared to that god awful T-Rex port, it's like chalk and cheese. Okay, that's it from me. Let me know in the comments below if you know of any games that had different regional releases, and remember to like and subscribe if you like my stuff. Till next time, this is OSG signing out.